Hello again. Now I want to talk about awareness and identity. We are very identified with everything. And there's nothing bad about that. It's just that it keeps us in kind of a feeling of, well, I have got to keep this identity going. I have got to somehow do enough to keep this identity so that everyone around me recognizes it, and that it's special, and that it's me, and it's a lot of responsibility. And I want to give the example right now of, and forgive me for it. Always when I get started, it's always like, where am I going with this? It's really not. I feel like I'm just waiting to get like the message from somewhere. So it's coming. It's coming. Going into a movie, when you go into a movie and it's a real action-packed adventure or whatever, something that you like, some movie that you like, you sit there and you're in this darkened theater and you're watching the characters on the screen, and before long, you start losing yourself in the movie. You lose yourself maybe in one particular character. You're looking at the heroine, and she's being attacked by the villain, or she's in this. I always love this part when they're going down a darkened staircase. I'm like, duh, don't go down there. There's, danger down there, but she goes down anyway with her little flashlight. And it's almost like you totally identify with this character, and your heart's beating, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, what's wrong with her? Why is she doing this? And this is a lot like we live. We live identified with who we are. And what we're doing, and it's a drama. We live with our own drama, our identity drama, and so then when you leave the theater and you go out into, say, let's say matinee, and you go out into the daylight and it's sunny and beautiful, you say, oh man, that movie was something else, and it still sort of stays with you a little bit, but you wake up from it. And in a way, I think this is what people who are talking about enlightenment and awareness and awakening are trying to get across, is that we are actually living our own drama, our own identity, our own character in our own movie drama, our own plot. And it's very hard to give this up because it seems so real. And for years, people have reinforced our identity. Even your name, you're so-and-so all your life. You're, John Smith all through your life. You are identified with your family members and with your schooling and with where you live and where you work, and it's just who you are. But I think what I'm trying to get across here today is it's not who you are. Not really. The essence of who you are is kind of still blank. There's a person here who is untouched by all the things that happen to it. It's that I'm aware here talking to you. My awareness is looking at you. And yet that's blank. That awareness is just watching. It's always watching. I mean, it takes me through the day. It takes me through my life. It's taken me through years of my life. And it's watched this scenario, it's watched this movie, it's watched that movie, it's watched my movie. But it is never touched. That awareness is never touched. It can't be. Like I said in one of my other videos, it's like a beam of light. You cannot stomp it out. It just keeps on keeping on, like the Energizer Bunny. Really, it's the truth. And yet, so for some reason, not for some reason, but for lots of reasons, we have become identified with this little entity by the name of John Smith. This is who I am. And oh my gosh, I've got to hold it together. And it's a prison of sorts. It's a prison. Because all that goes with that, keeping it together, becomes your own self-made prison. And the only way to break out of that prison is to keep touching that original blankness, that awareness that just sees. It just sees. It's just, God knows where that comes from. Like I said before, we don't know. Who cares? But it just sees. And you can actually feel that and taste that. You can actually get in touch with that by just being simply you. Now, right here. Breathing in, feeling your skin, feeling yourself, being intimate with yourself. Just be here with the simplicity of just you. Ordinary, everyday you. No name, you. No name, no labels, no identity, nothing that anyone calls you or thinks you are. Just you, that original face. It's easier said than done. I totally admit that because, you know, the nervous system somehow keeps this thing, the adrenaline, pumping through the identity, keeping it very much alive, thank you. But I know that there's a way of just not letting it grab you by the throat. Not letting it, and people call this, you can call it ego, you can call it personality, you can call all that reacts from this space. You can call it whatever you want to call it. It has all kinds of names. And we have to use words, right? We have to use names, unfortunately. But we do. It's a necessary evil to use words and names and talk on and chatter on about it all. But there's a sweetness to that little ordinary you that gets skipped over all the time, that can just be here in a very simple, sweet way, in a quiet way, or even a noisy way. But just be you with whatever you're doing. And I think that, you know, we have so many rules and regulations to live by. And, oh, you should do this. Oh, you should do that. Or why did you do this? You ought to do that. Oh, my gosh. We're slammed all the time with stuff. So it's hard to keep the equilibrium in all this and touch that little space. But the more you can touch it, the more you can respect it, the more you can honor the simplicity of just being you here right now, the more you'll fall in love with it. And the more natural it will seem. And the more the naturalness will arise. And the more contentment will arise. And you'll find less stress. You'll find less having to do, having to bend over backwards to please. In that space, in that simple little space, I really feel is where all the wisdom lives. I think that we give up, when we give up that simple space, that ordinary little space of you, I think we also give up the wisdom that's there. And I don't know where the wisdom comes from. I don't even pretend to know. Who really cares? I mean, it doesn't matter. But I do know that in that simplicity of being here present, being here now, being with just simply you, ordinary you, there's wisdom that lives in that same space. And you'll live your life through a much, through more wisdom. You'll live your life with more wisdom, because you'll drop the identity of all the have-tos, of all the things that the signs people have hung on you, so to speak. You will eventually drop all those because they won't seem important anymore. And I think you can certainly still function from this life. In fact, you function a lot better because you have that wisdom that you're carrying with you, and you have the calmness, and you've accepted yourself. My God, you finally accepted yourself. You know, there's nothing wrong with being... And you know, there's nothing ordinary about being ordinary, by the way. I have to throw that in. You know, ordinariness, people think of ordinariness as being bland or boring or whatever. But my God, nobody seems to be able to be ordinary. Everybody's got to be something so spectacular. So practice touching the little you, the little simplicity of being here with just yourself, with whatever you're doing, and allow that to be the case. Thank you.